The lost beautiful girl. The rain hit the mansion's rooftop like 1,000 tiny fists. It was past midnight, but the house was wide awake. Not because of joy or laughter, but because of screams. Loud, piercing screams. "Let me go." A young girl's voice rang through the empty halls, but no one came. She was 15. But she had lived more lives than most. Before we continue with this interesting story, please do well to subscribe to our channel Maya African Folktales and click notification for new videos. Thank you. Her name was Ijeoma. Born into wealth, raised in neglect. Her parents, powerful and respected, were never home. The house was filled with gold, marble floors, and servants, but it was empty of love. The first time it happened, she was barely 10. One of the house staff, a man her parents trusted, slipped into her room. Told her to be quiet. Told her it was a game. She didn't understand at first. But pain has a way of teaching quickly. By 12, she had stopped resisting. By 14, she no longer cared. By 16, she had lost count. And now, at 17, she had lost herself. Life has becoming so unfair to her. Ijeoma was the girl who had everything: money, cars, designer clothes. But if you looked into her eyes, you would see nothing. Just a hollow shell, a body moving through life without a soul. Her parents were never around. Always at meetings. Always flying from one country to another. They sent money but never time. They sent gifts but never love. And so, Ijeoma found comfort in the only thing she knew: men. Men who whispered empty promises. Men who saw her beauty but not her brokenness. Men who used her the way others had before. She wasn't even 18, but she had been with more men than she could count. Some were older. Some were boys like her. Some gave her money. Some just took what they wanted and left. But the darkest moments came in the places no one would ever suspect. In high-class hotels where men with heavy pockets left bruises on her skin. In the back of expensive cars where laughter turned into muffled cries. In alleyways where she gave herself away just to feel something, anything at all. She thought she was in control. Thought she was powerful. Until the night she found herself standing on the edge of a high-rise building, looking down. The city lights sparkled like diamonds. But she felt nothing. Maybe I should just let go, she whispered to herself. Her mind replayed everything: the hands that had touched her without permission, the money thrown at her like she was nothing more than an object, the suffocating loneliness, the nights she drank until she forgot her own name. And then, for the first time in years, she started to cry. She said, "I need a turning point. Who can help me, God?" A voice behind her made her freeze. "Ijeoma." She turned. It was Mama Oduak, the old woman who used to work for her family before she was fired for knowing too much. The woman looked at her the way no one had in years. With love. With sadness. With understanding. "You don't belong here," the woman said. "Calm down. Let's go home." Home. Ijeoma almost laughed. What was home? A place where no one cared. A place where she was nothing more than a name on a birth certificate. But Mama Oduak reached out her hand. And for the first time in years, someone wanted nothing from her. No favors. Nobody. Just her. After her parents came back from one of their usual trips, they could not find her anywhere. They asked the driver and security. No one knows where she was. The search begins. At first, no one noticed she was gone. The house was as silent and indifferent as ever. The maids continued their chores, the security guards patrolled the gates, and her parents were away again. It took 3 days before her mother even realized she hadn't seen her daughter. "Where is Ijeoma?" she asked absently, sipping from a glass of imported wine. The head servant hesitated. "She hasn't been home, madam." Panic flickered in her mother's eyes, but she quickly suppressed it. "She's probably with friends," she said, waving it off. But deep down, a sliver of fear coiled around her heart. By the 5th day, her father was informed. "What do you mean she's missing?" he barked, slamming his fist on the polished mahogany table. The police were called. Posters were printed. The media caught wind of the missing billionaire's daughter, turning it into a national spectacle. The world sympathized, but those closest to her knew the truth: she had been lost long before she disappeared. They searched hotels, clubs, and dark alleys. They bribed informants, threatened those who had known her, and paid off the police to keep things quiet. But she was nowhere to be found. Desperation turned to guilt. Her mother sat in Ijeoma's untouched bedroom, running her fingers over childhood photos, eyes filled with regret. Her father drowned himself in work, refusing to admit that his neglect had led to this. "She was just a child," her mother whispered one night. "And we left her alone." But money couldn't bring her back. Time stretched on. Weeks. Months. And then one day, a call came in. The discovery. It was a small village, far from the city, where someone had seen a girl matching Ijeoma's description. Her parents arrived in a convoy of black SUVs, stepping out with fear and urgency in their steps. And there she was. Ijeoma stood in the doorway of Mama Uduak's house, looking at the people who had created her but never truly known her. She was thinner, but there was a new light in her eyes, something they had never seen before. Her mother rushed forward, arms outstretched. "My baby." But Ijeoma stepped back. "You didn't come for me when I needed you," she said, her voice steady, but her eyes filled with pain. "Why now?" Her father's face hardened. "Enough of this nonsense. Get in the car." But Ijeoma shook her head. "I'm not coming back." Her mother sobbed. "We can fix this, we can make everything right." Ijeoma looked at them both, feeling the weight of years of silence, years of pain. She had spent her life searching for love in the wrong places because the two people who should have given it to her never did. She turned to Mama Uduak, the only one who had shown her kindness without expectation. "I have a home now." Her father's voice was cold. "You belong with us." Ijeoma took a deep breath, her heart pounding, but she stood firm. "No. I belong where I'm loved." And with that, she turned and walked away, leaving behind a past that no longer defined her. One evening, as the sun set over the village, Ijeoma sat outside with Mama Uduak. The older woman braided her hair gently, humming an old song. "You will be all right, my child," she said. For the first time, Ijeoma believed it. She had been lost. But now, she was truly found. Thank you for watching. The story continues. What next for Ijeoma? Please do well to subscribe to our channel African Folktales and click notification for new videos.